Limitless.io.
What's up to viewers? My name is Pax and I'm back to react. Today on the chopping block, we have No Jumper. It looks like the No Jumper cast is at it once again, and we have a formal debate on what is technically snitching, who is technically a snitch, and what the definition of snitching is. So we're going to go over here to the No Jumper podcast, and we're going to tap in with them and see what they have to say about this situation. And of course, I'm going to leave my colorful commentary along the way. Let's get over here and see what they got going on. And with no further ado, here's the content.
And being a civilian and you think people just got a green light to snitch and all that, I just don't believe in that, bro.
So what I'm asking you is, I'm a civilian. If I get robbed,
you a rat, though.
and I go tell the police this robbed me, I'm a rat.
Yeah, you.
That's where you contradict yourself.
How?
Because you just sat here and said that I'm for the peace, I'm for the good shit, whatever.
Yeah, I am.
But if I get robbed and I go tell the police this robbed me, I'm a rat.
The definition of a rat is when you go cooperate or assist law enforcement in any way, shape, form. I'm just telling you the definition. You don't like the way it sounded to come out because it's harsh.
Hey,
but that's the definition of a rat.
When he pressing peace, he talking about gang violence. He ain't talking about nigga getting booked.
Okay, so it looks like we have a formal debate. We have a civilian and we have what I would consider to be a non-civilian debating what is ratting. So this has been going on for the last few months, at least online, and it's a lot of back and forth as to, what is formally snitching, what is formally telling, whether or not a civilian can tell or snitch, and whether it's valid and so forth and so on. So you guys need to determine for yourselves what you think, depending on your resources or what your source is of information at any given point in time, or who you're looking up to or what you're affiliated with. You need to use that information, that data, to determine for yourself what is telling.
And I think it's just, the connotation of being called a rat, but also I don't live by what street dudes call me either. But you shouldn't care that he's calling you a rat, though. You shouldn't care that he considers you a rat for doing that.
No, but I hate the fact that he calls me a rat.
But the nerve of you a tell police, but you don't want to get, you can snitch, but you don't want a nigga to call you a rat.
Snitch what if I'm a civilian, brother?
You the reason why the snitch is
that's that shit I'm talking about.
When that shit come out?
When
that civilian shit come out?
Since gangsters been on the internet.
Because I'm a regular
podcasting.
So if I'm walking down the street and I get jukes for my chain, I'm a rat because I tell?
That's the definition of a rat.
But why do you care so much what street dudes think?
And that's when you straddle the fence.
I don't care if he thinks I'm a rat, if that's what my whole thing is.
Like, he want to use a civilian pass to snitch, but he don't like that label.
No, I don't need no civilian pass to snitch. But what I'm saying is, if you stand on what you're standing on, why don't you just be like, if you tell, that's okay.
No, that's
because he lives by a different code of ethics, and you live by a different code of ethics, which you've both pointed out specifically. You, as a civilian, live by a different code of conduct, meaning specifically, if you are victimized in any way, it is absolutely socially acceptable for you to involve law enforcement, cooperate with law enforcement, and have someone prosecuted. There is no debating whether you're a civilian or not as to if you use law enforcement as a way to punish someone else and have them arrested or incarcerated, or use them, law enforcement, as a way to get out of prison or jail, or to have your charges reduced or dropped because of the cooperation that you've provided to law enforcement. So That goes without saying. Now, if everybody wants to sit on here and split hairs and debate back and forth with civilians and non-civilians and affiliates and non-affiliates and, accredited members and non-accredited members, then, people from a distance can't tell who's the moron and who isn't.
Nah, but it's not okay with me, though.
So if somebody do something to me, I should just let it happen.
No, you should get cracking.
What if somebody shoots my mom?
Get cracking.
And that's what I'm talking.
Wait, you're saying even me as a civilian who obviously has no intent of getting it cracking, if someone shoots my 76-year-old mother,
if somebody
it's on me to take the law into my hands. I think you realize right now how retarded this sounds, right?
It's ridiculous.
But that's a street perspective. That's what I don't.
Your argument
but
is
the street
ridiculous.
perspective should have room for civilians to not be treated like they have to crash out.
And you spend time in the penitentiary, bro.
Hey, honestly, if the homies heard that the homie went and go put in some work and they killed the old lady by accident, they go be on him. Like, what the is you doing? Why you didn't get your man? You get chastised for shit like that. So they like niggas, know what I'm saying? They ain't a stripe or anything.
But to me, the civilians be more mad at getting called a rat, even though they snitch. If you snitch, it's used as a rat.
Yeah, I just don't get why y'all care. Why as civilians do we care about?
This is the most painful thing that I deal with. Why do we not give a about our time? You spent time in the penitentiary, so you really sat there and looked at your wall. So why would you come out popping this like just give up your time? This
He's like
time is something that we can't
came
get back.
out and just kept doing crazy shit.
I'm lost with you. I'm lost with you.
Saying if somebody shoots Adam's mom and Adam goes and ups the blick and kills the dude that killed him, you're telling Adam to crash out and end up
like
in prison.
time don't matter.
Push peace and say like that.
Listen,
there's two different ideologies in effect here. One ideology stems from the notion that if someone does something to you, or if it is specifically a violent crime, that, it is mandatory pretty much to involve law enforcement and cooperate with them. Whereas the other ideology completely rebukes law enforcement. They do not cooperate with law enforcement whatsoever, and they shun anyone that does in order to protect the sanctity of the tribe, because they all do what is considered to be holding court in the streets, meaning that they hold each other accountable to whatever degree is necessary at any given time.
if you can sit there, first of all, I'm not telling nobody to do anything.
You are.
That's
But that's what the street code would say.
So listen, per street code, that you supposed to get crack. And to me, you ain't even got to be a part of the streets. If somebody comes smoke your mama, and you don't feel you don't want to go get cracking.
I want to, but I also value my freedom, and I value spending my life with my child, and operating this business.
But I understand.
So I'm going to let the cops handle it.
Yes.
But so I understand.
That's what my tax dollars are paying them for.
So I understand your narrative, but you got, if that's the route you choose to take, you can't get mad when I'm like, Adam, you a rat, you a snitch.
I just think it's like
but
so
you make
lacking
niggas
in
feel
logic.
goofy because they just do the right thing.
Because you are goofy.
How?
If you go right there,
how do you not value your time?
Somebody
nigga?
smoked your mama.
That's
you don't.
No, but that's one thing you can't get back is time. You can't buy time.
Listen, we two different people.
We are two different people.
Yeah, because ain't no way in hell I'm gonna be sitting on God's green earth right now and somebody smoked my mama and I don't feel no certain type of way. Bro.
I think what the problem is, you guys are just trying to be reasonable with the streets, and the streets pretty much make you have to be
don't make no sense.
Now, that's a fact. I can agree with that. You know, if you get involved with the streets, if you have a street mentality or subscribe to the way that the streets work, then, you know, yeah, you're not going to understand what the fuck everybody's talking about. Because in the streets, you know, you ultimately have to brainwash yourself into believing that the right thing is wrong and vice versa. Meaning, you know, when it comes to crimes, when it comes to committing crimes, illegal activities, surrounding yourself with criminals predominantly, then, you know, everybody wants to feel as safe as possible, meaning there should be honor amongst thieves. They don't want to entertain the possibility that someone could get in trouble, you know, or and use law enforcement against them, or that they have the mentality that, you know, it's okay to tell, you know, or snitch. So again, now that the internet has made it a lot easier for the gang culture and civilian cultures to overlap through every different outlet available, then now the politics concerning the gang culture and then the sanity surrounding the civilian are now they're not meshing very well. And that's the case here. You're debating something that isn't debatable unless you establish very specific parameters. You're never going to get to the bottom of this. This isn't something that can be resolved. You know, it's starting to look absolutely fucking ridiculous. If people can't figure out what is going on, you know, depending on who you're with, you know, as grown men, when you are around certain types of people, you know what's expected of you and what's to be expected of them. And if you can't decipher that, if you can't really figure out what's going on around you at any given moment, then, you know, maybe take a look in the mirror. That's just my opinion.
I love that. And I have to learn that shit
I got a little brother doing 37 in life right now. I hate that. I hate that thought. I hate that thought process.
Either you in or you out.
No, but it's not like that because our time is valuable, bro.
Yeah, so if you're in this,
do you not feel like your time is valuable?
Man, some people don't. That's what they choose to do.
What's the longest stretch you ever sat down for?
I just did 12 and a half years.
And did that not mean something? So when you were sitting in that box, did you not think to yourself like, I deserve more than this?
Why you think I would, like, who wouldn't? That has nothing to do with being a snitch. You taking something to the whole, like, why do you think I get out and I'm doing the things that I'm doing?
No, I respect that.
And I'm saying the things we talking about
because you act like you'll just give up the time easily, and your time is valuable.
No, because if he's saying somebody shot his mama, that's like the most extreme version. So it's not just black and white. There's nuance in the middle where
time back, but you can't get your mama back in.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you only get one of those.
I think there's some nuance there.
But to make it particular on one person, Roger Davis is wrong.
Radrick.
He's a rat.
Yeah. Whatever. That
Who,
nigga's wrong.
Gucci?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he spent 20 years telling us what a gangster he was.
No. He poisoned a whole lot of kids,
He is a tax-paying citizen. He's been a millionaire. He's been a millionaire for 20 years. What the? This is the same shit that happened to Little Dirk, bro.
No. Listen. That's why I don't like Rick Ross, because he was a cop and came out trying to portray to be a dope dealer, and somebody wanted to take on that path and follow you, and you don't even do that, you foul.
All right, so I'm sure you guys can see from here what's going on. We can see what the great debate is. You know, again, you guys got to get in the chat. Let me know what you guys think about this situation. You know, who's right, who's wrong, what is, what isn't. What do you think? You know, let me know in the chat. If this is your first time to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment, share with someone else. At the end of the day, we all make choices, you know, and some people think that the choices that you make are definitive, that they last forever, that you can't go back on them, that there's no change in your mind. You know, the maturation process for some of us, it takes a little bit longer. You know, some of us, you know, we're able to gain discipline and insight and wisdom and along the way, and we mature a little quicker. Either way it goes, I haven't met anyone that's come out of prison for any extended period of time especially, or met anyone in prison that said whatever they did to get there was worth it. I don't care how much money was involved. I don't care how much beef was involved. I don't care what the politics. I don't care if it had to do with their kids. It's not worth it. Spending the rest of your life in prison, spending a significant amount of time in prison as young men is not worth it. Okay? That's case in point. When you decide that you have no other choice, or you make the choice because you want to be a gang member and follow suit with its politics, then you are making a decision. You're aware of what's going on, and you're aware of what the mentality and the expectations of that culture has of you as an individual and as a collective. And if you violate those conditions, you will be held accountable by the collective. There's no other way around that. When it comes to deciding what's more important, your personal life or whatever street life you've adopted outside of your household, that's for you to decide. And it's the people around you aren't going to like it a lot of the times. Sometimes it's the people around you are going to be divided. Half of them might agree and half of them might not agree. This is a collection of people that you've curated over time for yourself, but they might not agree with each other. So you have to decipher what is more important to you as an individual, as men. So, you know, we ain't gonna settle nothing with this debate. Shout out to No Jumper for the content. My name is Pax, and I'm just here to try to keep track of these facts. Until next time, go outside, make a friend, do something inspiring, be inspired. I don't care, man. Just be positive. I'm out of here.